Arsenal have a big decision to make. Look, we're in a unique position right now, but I think there are two decisions that Arsenal have to get right because one of them has affected us for over like 20 years. So this isn't a decision we need to rush into and hope we get right. There needs to be some detailed thought on this because if not, it could change, like I said, everything over the next 20 years. I'm hoping Mikel Arteta gets it right. We're going to speak about that one in a minute. The first very quick one is the January transfer window is kind of slowly approaching. We're getting into the winter now, so you're always looking ahead to that January transfer window. And I can't remember the last time, kind of heading into October, November, where I wasn't looking forward to the January transfer window and hoping Arsenal bring some players in. So I want to ask you a very quick question. Do you feel or think that Arsenal have to enter the January transfer window? For me, I just don't see where Arsenal can realistically improve this squad. That doesn't mean we're perfect, by the way. There are still some players in this Arsenal squad that I feel can be upgraded. It's just if you're going into a January transfer window, it's very difficult to do business. It's almost like a window where you approach with emergency. If you have many injuries in your squad, and if Arsenal carry on, that wouldn't be an impossibility, by the way, because we're seeing the injury record Arsenal are going through this season. And it isn't inspiring. It doesn't leave you feeling much confidence. Luckily, like we've said so many times before, we have such a deep squad where it's not affecting us right now. So I'm looking at that January transfer window. And like I said, in years gone by, Arsenal have always kind of, I don't know, been a bit lax in the summer. We haven't made the signings or appointments that most Arsenal fans wanted. So as soon as the season started, automatically you're looking at that January transfer window praying for some help, hoping for reinforcements to bolster your squad because, 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, the transfer windows were abysmal. And that is where this next question comes in because I'm hearing a lot of talk, a lot of, opinions going out there about Arsenal and this the stadium being rebuilt or Arsenal changing stadiums in terms of upgrading it to a 70,000 seater stadium. And all I would say is we need to err on the side of caution with this one because look, I'm all for people having accessibility to tickets. Look, I know as an Arsenal fan, it's an absolute nightmare to get tickets. Most weeks they're sold out, and to even be in with a chance to try and get in the ballot for a ticket, you have to pay for a membership. So I do look at it and think, right, the need for tickets is obviously out there. So if we do increase this stadium, people will buy the tickets because there's always people on the waiting list for season tickets. Every week I have conversations with people where they're asking me, can I get tickets? Or do you know where I can get tickets? So the need for tickets is definitely out there. And if Arsenal had a bigger stadium, 100% the tickets would sell. I think we could have a 90,000 seater stadium and it sell out every single week because the demand is now there for football. It's so huge. People are wanting to watch Arsenal every single week. But the feasibility of that is difficult because, look, in a perfect world, we could just buy a 90,000 seater stadium or buy a bit of land and build that. And then, yeah, perfect. We'll make more money in terms of revenue, people buying tickets, people buying merchandise, food, drinks. It would all add up to, Arsenal making more money. But the initial outlay we've seen in the past has affected Arsenal so much. We was kind of sold a dream when we moved to the Emirates. Oh, look, when we move stadiums, we're going to have more people coming in. We're going to generate more money. This equals better transfers, better facilities. And look, the facilities are massively improved. But at the same time, it's been such a struggle over the past 10 years buying players. Not in recent years. I give credit to Arsenal. In recent years, we're not that club where we've been penny pinching quite as much as when Arsene Wenger was here 10, 15 years ago, when it was like his hands were tied because we're still paying off this stadium. So I don't want to make that mistake and move or refurbish this stadium to a quality of 70,000 if it affects that transfer business, if it resets us back to the 20 years ago where we didn't have the funds, we didn't have the ability to buy players. Like I said, in recent years, it's changed. Arsenal are not greedy. Arsenal don't have to outlay all this money on a stadium. So we're seeing transfer windows where we're spending £200-300 million on players that has now allowed us to be title contenders. Premier League title favourites, Champions League favourites. That is all because we've brought in players. So which players in this squad do people look at and think we need to improve? Like I said, the January transfer window is coming up. The only kind of players I look at and think, right, we can really improve it because we're a near on perfect squad. Again, you're never going to be totally perfect. But if you got players like, I don't know, and I hate to kind of say these players' names because it's me acting like they're not good enough when I actually really appreciate most of these players I'm about to talk about. But I just want to give people an example. Trossard or Martinelli. Again, Martinelli's coming into some form recently where you wouldn't even consider selling him. But say if you get, I don't know, 50 million for a Martinelli or 20 million for a Trossard, but in the same window, you go and buy a Rafael Leao for 100 million. Those are kind of the only players that I think Arsenal now need to go on and buy. We've kind of bulked out this squad to, I don't know, was it 20 players that you look at and you think any of these can start on any game and I'd probably feel comfortable. So now the only way we can improve this squad is by swapping a Trossard for a Leao. You're just making that small adjustment of swapping a great player in Leandro Trossard for a real world-class players. That's kind of the position that Real Madrid have found themselves in over the past, 10, 15 years, where they've already got world-class players and then they've got some great players sprinkled in as well. And it's just about replacing those great players with world-class players until you build an absolute super team. Like, you look at Arsenal's defence, not many people would change any of them defenders. Calafiori has looked brilliant recently, so there's no way you would drop him or swap him with anyone. You've got Gabriel and Saliba, already the best centre-back partnership in the world. You've got Yuri and Timber, the best Premier League right back. You've got David Raya. You know, most people, I'm hearing people in the media, even Liverpool fans, saying David Raya at the minute is the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. So you don't touch that back line. You go into midfield. Zubimendi's just come in, still adapting, so there's no need to change that. Declan Rice, again, talked as one of the best midfielders in the world. Martin Odegaard, again, that's a position where you could probably look at and say, if there's an absolute one of the very best or the very best guy in that position in his world available where you could sell Martin Odegaard. Again, it's not something I would consider right now, but that's the only way you can improve a team to a great team to a super team, is when you're taking those already great players and replacing them with a world-class player. Already, Arsenal are in an unreal position, and I'm saying all that to say this: I don't change any of these players in January. Like I said, I think this is the first transfer market in January that I'm looking at and I'm thinking there's no business that I can see that needs to be done. I really like Odegaard. I like Declan Rice, Zubimendi. I've already spoken about the back line. Even the left wingers are so good at the minute. Gabriel Martinelli coming into some form. Leandro Trossard. Mikel Arteta wanting to play him week in, week out just shows that he has so much to offer this Arsenal team. We don't need to talk about the right-hand side because you've already got one of the best right wingers in the world. And then in his backup, you've got Noni Madueke, who's kind of injured at the minute, but when he comes back again, that's just more depth that we have. We've got Gyökeres up top, the best striker in Europe last season. So Arsenal are in a great position, and like I said, I'm just so surprised that it's got to the point where we're heading into the winter. So that means the January transfer window is coming up, and I'm looking at it and saying, nah, you're all right. I don't want to touch anyone because our squad is in such a good position, a healthy position, that we don't need to buy any players. It would be interesting to see if anyone agrees. If there is anyone out there that you think Arsenal can improve this squad with, let me know in the comment section. Yeah, thanks so much to everyone for watching and listening. Before you go, if you could do me the quick favour, just hit like and subscribe, and I'll speak to you all in tomorrow's video. Gooners, have a good day.